Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week we have Fade into the Night, Philly Heat by Becky Flade.
Yay!
A serial killer is on the loose, an FBI agent with a dark past, a forensic facial reconstructionist caught in the middle. There is a danger prowling the streets of Philadelphia, targeting young, independent career women. And for Agent Noah Danes, the threat is personal. When Agent Danes reconnects with an old flame, it opens up a whole new playground for the infamous Beltway Romeo. Can Noah solve the mystery of Romeo in time, or will he lose everything in the pursuit? Dun dun dun
Dun dun dun!
dun dun. So, Rachel, what did you think of this book?
So this book, it read like an episode of like CSI or like NCIS or Jen. Why are there so many cop shows?
Because serial killers are out there and they're amazing to watch. Okay,
Ugh.
let me rephrase that. Because because they're amazing to watch and usually they're actually really intriguing on how they go about catching a criminal.
But there are like legitimately so many of them. Aren't there like 14 CSIs? Never mind. This is a rabbit hole from which we will never emerge.
No.
So anywho's so yeah, no, it reads like an episode of one of those TV shows, which I didn't hate. I thought it was um fun. It even like there were twists, but the twists weren't really too extreme. There were like it was it was intriguing, but not one of those books that you're gonna like sit and ponder or like you know what I mean? It was light, but also not because it was a serial killer. And then but it was fun. I do have to say, so forensic facial reconstruction is so rad. It's so cool. I mean, it's gross and I could never do it, but like, when the people are like, "Oh, they take this painting and reconstruct someone's face," or like they're like, "Ooh, this is a scan of," I've just said like 100 times.
Yeah, you did.
But um they take an x-ray of a sarcophagus or something, which is also rude because let them, chill in peace. Like they're supposed to be there for a reason. Quit undigging people. But anywho, yeah, no, it's really cool. And I love watching that happen. So I thought it was cool to read about a character who had that profession.
So listen, I basically thought of Bones when I was reading this because, all right, you have, oh my God, I can't remember her name.
Is it Bones?
No, it's not Bones. Hold on.
I don't know. I didn't watch that movie. All I know is that David Boreanaz is in it, and I should watch it because David Boreanaz is in it. But I also don't really like her.
Oh
And
no.
also, like, why would I watch Bones when I could watch SEAL Team? You know what I mean?
Okay. But it was such a good show. I absolutely loved Bones because there was so many different aspects of it. And I think so when I was a kid, there used to be a show called Medical Investigation, and it was kind of like a prequel to Bones. Like, they went and actually not maybe not CSI, but it was like right around the same time frame. It was like Third Watch came on and then Criminal Investigation came on, and it was just so good because like they were investigating the crimes and they like show more in depth than most other shows. And that's kind of like how Bones was. And like there was so many different aspects to the forensics team that That's actually what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I don't have the stomach for that kind of shit. But there was a character named Angela on the show, and she was the facial reconstructionist, and she was very good at her job. So even if she had a partial of like bone fragments of the skull, she was able to mimic and create the face of the victim. That's basically what Sadie was doing, was she was reconstructing faces out of basically just pictures and
Yo,
old.
if you all can hear that, I'm so sorry. My squirrel is in his ball and he's just wreaking havoc upon the world.
He's a cute little squirrel,
I love him. But he
but
sounds like someone's trying to huff and puff and blow my door down.
he does. He's very angry that you won't let him in.
Well, he's gonna come in here. He's gonna roll around on the carpet for a little bit, and then he's gonna get bored and want to go back outside. Out there, ugh, out there, he has the whole house to roam. Go be free.
But so Sadie was doing the job of Angela, which I was able to like kind of like visualize more of what she was doing with her pottery and all that, which I thought was really cool. And then when I first started reading this, I'm like, okay, cool. So Celie Booth and Angela are like a team. And like it got my brain all fired up. I was like, okay, this is gonna be so good. We're gonna get this guy because she's gonna somehow reconstruct his face. I was right and I was wrong. Like
Who's Booth?
Booth is that guy that you like.
Oh,
The
David Boreanaz.
Yes, the
That
guy from
guy I like.
Buffy.
You put some respect on Angel's name. I'm just saying.
I knew it was from Buffy, but I just oh
No.
Lord. But yeah, so there was definitely some aspects of this book that I really loved because of the forensic aspects. But I was I wish there was more science behind some of it, or forensic.
Blech.
Yeah. Ew. Don't believe science.
I'm sorry, continue.
And, but I just wish there was more like, I don't know, like yes, there was police procedure. Yes, there was a little bit of forensics talk. But when you're in an active investigation and you have a main character that is connected to a victim, and that person keeps investigating the murder or the issues, okay? The main character is investigating his girlfriend's attack. That's a no-no. That is absolutely a no-no because I'm sorry, everything that that man touches or comes in contact with is admissible in court, and fuck that. So
Well,
I
yeah,
got
that's why they
really
took
pissed.
him off the case.
I know, but then they kept feeding him information, and also he kept investigating on his own, which was going to put the investigation in jeopardy. I mean, and that's a problem. Like it bothers me during the shows, it bothers me during the movies, it bothers me when I hear about it in real life. It's just one of those things that I dislike, because if you really wanted to help catch that person, you would remove yourself from the case and be done with it. And he didn't, and that drives me nuts. So, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but it's just one of those things for me. Like, if you're going to have a cop show or a cop book, or you have to follow the procedures, and he didn't follow procedures, and he actually could have made everything go very, very south, even quicker than what it did with Sadie.
what if you were a detective or an agent and I was injured?
Okay. So I would have my best team on it. Like anybody that thinks like me,
Mhm.
methodical and anything like that, I would make sure they were on the case, make sure everything's taken care of, and then I would be by your side the entire time. I don't care if you don't want me there, I'll be outside the door, whatever, whatever the case may be. I will still be there making sure that you're protected for the rest of the case until the person's caught. 24/7 detail.
And you wouldn't like make phone calls, try and crack the case at all.
I would not, because of the fact that I could put your life in danger more by getting in the cop's way. If I am in the
Mm.
that's the thing. Like if I had to hand in my badge and do some, you know, unofficial business and just knock off somebody, fine. No big deal.
Unofficial business.
But if it's like a serious thing like what this book was, which is a serial killer that's like literally cutting women open and leaving them naked and with roses and
Ugh, gross.
yeah, like okay, I'm not going to sit there and leave you unprotected. So yeah, everybody else can work on the case while I'm fucking keeping your ass safe. End of story. Fill me
I
in
can
on
dig that.
details. Yeah, you can fill me in on details, but I'm not going to go after that person. I have people to do that for me. And if, especially if I'm confident in those people, I won't need to keep checking up on them. They'll come back to me
Mhm.
with information and they'll take care of it.
I get it. I get it. I can respect that.
It's I've always had like a mentality of like, yeah, I want to protect you or protect someone I love, but at the same time, we got to think of doing it the smart way. And
Yeah.
getting in the way of an investigation or overstepping boundaries is not going to help. You're frustrating someone else, which is putting them off of their game so they can't give their full attention to the investigation.
Hmm.
But yeah.
I dig it. That kind of brings me to I wrote down one of the quotes that I wrote down, I believe was the first quote. It was the first sentence of the book. So it says dulcet tones from bow and string created grace as music soared to the vaulted ceiling, and images of horror panned across the wall. Blood and rose petals littered the champagne colored carpet. And I thought that that was a pretty intense way to open that story.
On
It was visual.
yeah, I honestly had that same thing highlighted. I actually went a little bit further into the paragraph, but I literally wrote, "Holy shit, what an opening!" Because you do get that immediate visual and immediate discomfort, and it's gruesome, but it pulls you right in. It's yeah, she did a really great job on that opening.
Just juxtaposition, like you sit there and you think about beautiful, music and creating grace, and vaulted ceilings, and then images of horror and blood and rose petals, and you know you're like, oh snap, okay. Well, that's going somewhere.
Yeah. The fact that she literally went straight for the bang, like she basically grabbed you by the cojones immediately and was like, "Here, let me just give you a little twist there." And it was shocking. I was not expecting that as an opener. And honestly, I just want to talk about the cover real quick because of the fact this cover kind of gives zero hint that this is not a romantic book. Like the I was like, "Oh, Fade into the Night. It's going to be like some steamy romance book." No the fuck it's not. No, it's not. It is. bits of gruesome just just yeah, it gets gory in some places, but it's like it's well done because of the fact that it was the details were the way that it needed to be a serial killer. And the fact that she threw the little curve in there, I like that.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I thought that she did really well? Was so exposition, as many of you know, is really hard to write. It's really hard to write. Like it's hard to make it sound organic. Um, and I hate exposition. Like to me, like just jump into the story. It makes me so I actually have a hard time too, like when I'm playing with my ideas or whatever, because I'm like, I just jump into stories and I don't want to like want to write any exposition. So hopefully if I ever do, write a book or something, it's readable because I hate it. But I thought that she did a good job in the beginning. Because so they're at Kawanico and the exposition is hidden in like classroom. So like he's there and they're talking about different things and it's question and answer. And I thought that that was a really cool way to kind of mask it a little bit. I mean, it's not masked, it's blatantly out there, but it's so obvious that it's hidden. I, I will say that there are some other parts of the book where it was kind of, we'll get to that later, but it was kind of like overly explained.
Yeah, it got a little monotonous at times, for sure. Um, Especially when you're explaining the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, so yeah, so Agent Danes is he works at Quantico. He's in charge of making was it basically like a remote BAU,
Yeah.
behavioral analysis unit or satellite or whatever. And then Sadie was the forensic facial recognition person, and there's a murder, and so it brings him back into her life. He's someone that she knew before, and they kind of like spark a little romance thing. And then stuff got weird.
Mm. And real fast too.
Yeah, it got real weird real fast.
So basically, these two, they have like their hot, steamy night together and they make plans to kind of travel uh out of the city together because they're going in the same direction. So she decides she'll drop him off and they'll spend some quality time just regrouping.
Wait, I want to interrupt real quick
Mhm.
because I know where you're gonna go, and I want to say something before you do.
Okay.
Um, so Sadie's the kind of woman who has no problem like offering a ride to a handsome guy. Like she's very blunt, very straightforward. She's like, okay, so are we spending the night together or what? And for me, I was like, I respect it, but holy crap. It was like I got like embarrassment by association. Not for her, like it was beautiful for her because her character was very like she was just like that. She was just blunt, no BS, just kind of like there. But because of the kind of person I am, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I will say she really did have a lot of balls, especially with the fact that she's like, "Oh, take me out to dinner tonight and meet me or just text me the place." And then she just rides off. And I'm like, "Oh,
Into the
okay."
sunset,
In between cars.
being a boss.
It was a very much boss move and absolutely respect her for it because I could never. Um, but because of the way that she handled it, he took her up on it. They do their thing. They head out of the city together. And he gets dropped off and she goes to her mother's house where she finds herself in a situation that she did not expect, and it's partially the fault of Mr. Noah Danes. So again, he's back into her life even after just separating again and, figuring that's it. All right, see you later. Bye. No, no. All of a sudden they're forced back together, and it's not for a good time this time. And I can't say that I blame her for blaming him. I know that it's it's wrong to put blame on someone else, especially when it's not entirely their fault or they had no control over it. But I can't blame her for being upset with him. I it's
Yeah.
just it's just me.
No, it's because like so like in your head you know that it's not his fault. Like in your head you know that you know he's not the one that did it. He never would do that, anything like that to you. But like feelings aren't rational and like fears aren't rational. So like while cerebrally, you know that it's not his fault, but I like the fact that she hates him after because it's kind of like it makes it more real.
So, I think humans in general just automatically have that knee-jerk reaction when they're thrown into an unexpected situation or have something just come up that's they're just they need someone to blame for it. And it's kind of just how we are as humans. We automatically just find someone to throw the blame on, even if we don't necessarily mean it, or if they didn't have anything to really do with it or whatnot. We may be wrong, but we automatically just have that knee-jerk reaction just to throw that blame at someone. And Sadie just immediately threw that blame on Noah. And I'm not saying she was right, but I would have done the same thing. I would have had the same feelings and resentments, and I would have had a hard time coming to terms with it, even though I would have eventually. It, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's a human reaction. Like, you can't expect us not to react as humans. Like, we all fuck up, we all make mistakes, we all make assumptions, we're quick to throw the blame even if it's not, necessary or anything like that, but it's just we do it, and it sucks, but it's always going to happen. It's always going to be the case.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we just, especially in a situation like that, like you said, we just have so much anger and so much hate that's bubbling up inside us and we kind of have to put it somewhere. So unfortunately, we tend to put it where it doesn't necessarily belong.
yeah, and on the first person we can think of to do it. I mean, fuck it. Sometimes it makes us shitty humans, but I mean, we try to, the only thing that you could do at that point is just try to make amends and try to apologize for even throwing the blame where it wasn't meant to be thrown.
Mm. Yeah.
Humans.
I will say I was very upset that he attacked her while she was listening to Guns N' Roses because I love Guns N' Roses to a point that's unhealthy. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
And like she's sitting there listening to Don't Cry. And then later on in the book, she says November Rain. And I'm like, well, that doesn't fit because the sentence was something along the lines of like, Axel was telling his lover to not cry, which is don't cry. And then later on in the book, she was like, I was listening to November Rain. And I was like, maybe it was both.
Well,
But
she
huh,
did say that she was listening to the whole album, so maybe Is it one after another or something? I don't know.
Well, plus like shuffle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
um, one of my cats is in the room. Goose is in the room and he's trying to get out. So cute.
Ugh.
Um, but yeah, oh man. I don't ever want to have bad memories associated with GNR because I'm gonna have to go listen to them. Anywho, you know what I read that was kind of cute? Like, so she said she brought up the idea of like giving your hospital flowers to the pediatrics unit when you leave. And
Yeah.
it was like a passing comment. She was saying how like, Sadie was doing something and while she was doing something, Noah went down and brought the um flowers and the balloons and stuff to the pediatrics unit. And I was like, that's cute. I never even thought of like to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're never in the hospital, thank goodness. Knock on wood. Just note, I knocked on two different types of wood just to
I
be
don't I don't
safe.
even I don't even have anything wooden near me.
Oh, well, don't worry. I got you covered. Between my dressers, my chair, my cute little book holder. It's a book and coffee holder. It's the cutest fucking thing ever. I love it. Anyways, so
Anyway,
all right, because of this book, I have to say something. And I don't think it's like a hot topic or anything like that. But
please,
I
I've had so many of those lately. I don't know if I can survive another one.
no, this one is more of like I think we need to take more appreciation for law enforcement and medical professionals because they do not get enough credit for the bullshit they see and deal with, especially on a daily basis. Like seeing some of the gruesome bullshit that they see daily or weekly or whatever it may be, that shit changes you, whether it be the first time you see it or the 100th time you see it. I mean, I don't think anybody gets enough credit for having to go through that daily and still play an active role in society. Like I see nurses all the time that stop in after their shift and you could just see the sheer like exhaustion and just like bullshit on their face. Like they look like they've been beaten down and just are like ready to give up on life some days. And it is like the
Mhm.
saddest fucking thing I've ever seen. And I don't think that, people actually appreciate the fact that they do see this stuff. They see the guts and the gore and all this crap and still sit there and smile at you and, try to make your hospital visit or whatever you're going through, whatever it may be, like they try to make it the best that they can for you. And I don't think people understand how tough that is, especially after seeing all the shit that they've seen and to still have a human heart and have humanity just still like bursting throughout them. That's like super fucking tough. And, they need to be appreciated a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. I think that we're incredibly blessed that we get to live, and walk through life. And I'm not saying at all that, we don't see the horrible things that people can do because we both know that we definitely do see awful things. But to see the amount of just sheer horror that people who work in hospitals or like, in law enforcement, like they're the first ones on the scene when something awful happens. And, like we get to walk through life not really seeing that every single day, for hours and hours and hours. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that we don't see the awful things. And of course, people see horrible, things, but I don't know, not to the level,
There,
not to that
yeah,
level. And I hope that that
yeah.
comes through. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not downplaying anyone's experience, but Jesus.
No, but I mean, they witness so many traumatic events. Like I hate to even say this, but first responders, whether that be firefighters, police officers, EMTs, they see all of sides. Okay, geriatric, young kids, middle-aged, males, females, whatever non-binary, they see everybody. They see everything. They have no choice to put those blinders on. They have to see this stuff. They have to help these people or try to save them, and they do on a daily basis. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that us average humans have to bear witness to, thankfully. But we have to also be thankful that we do have people that are strong enough to witness that, or even if they're not strong enough, they do put up with it, and they might be forever
Mm-hmm.
tormented by it, but they do it, and we need to be thankful to have those people.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I
I
know I
couldn't
just
have said
kind
it
of
better myself.
I'm sorry I got all emotional, guys, but I mean, I just like I sat there reading this and I'm like, wow, just imagine if you were the first person to come see a victim like that. And like in my situation, like if it was me showing up at a scene of the crime and I see a body filleted and sprawled out with roses and blood everywhere, I'm not going to handle it well. I'm
Yeah.
going to very much be beside myself. And there are obviously some people, even including in this book, that didn't have a great response to seeing the type of stuff. But then you have the other people's that, or other people's, the other,
That was so unintentionally adorable.
but then you have the other people that are like, they can compartmentalize. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Noah, he could literally get upset and then just like push it down. Like we can do that. We can push
Mm-hmm.
emotions down, but there's only a certain extent. If there's gonna be that major point where we can't put it down. So if Rachel gets hurt and is in the hospital, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm not gonna be able to hold myself together. I'm not gonna be able to compartmentalize anything. I'm gonna fucking just crumble. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Same when my daughter goes into the hospital, like I, I'm a little more like bot 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 bot. Like I know what needs to be done, but I'm still gonna be sitting there fucking crying my eyes out while I'm doing all the things that need to be done.
Meanwhile, I was like, her arm's broken. Where is it broken? Did they put a cast on it? What did they do for her? Did they get any medication? Is she in pain? What's going on?
Yeah, and meanwhile I'm sitting there watching them, re-break my daughter's arm and put it back into uh, I I was I was nope. I watched, but I was not okay. I was crying my eyes out. And Rachel's like, it's fine. She's fine. You're good. Someone's on Instagram.
I'm really sorry.
Here I was having a moment, and then all of a sudden I hear pop music.
I'm sorry. Anywho's.
Let's get back to everything else. All right, there's two things that I want to bring up real quick. There was one part where she references Marty McFly, she from Back to the Future, and she was talking about how this guy just looks like Marty McFly, and I literally died just reading that because I was like, that's fucking hilarious. P.S. I also had a customer in today that looked like Lemony Snicket's. Literally
Lemony
to
Snicket?
Lemony Snicket. It's, a series of unfortunate events. Jim Carrey.
Oh, well, Jim Carrey didn't play Lemony Snicket. Lemony Snicket was the fictional author. That's why I was very confused because we never see Lemony Snicket's face. He played Count Olaf.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Because I had myself all fucked up. But yeah, so the guy looked like literally like Count Olaf from Series of Unfortunate Events. It was hilarious. I pulled
I
up the
don't know that I
picture.
could talk to him.
Oh, I pulled up the picture to Mary and I go, look. And I showed her and we both just started dying. It was so great.
Rude.
I know, I really am. And I'm fine with that. But one of the other things that she does mention in here was the scorpion and the frog. Now, it's a fable, and not a lot of people like really talk about this fable, which I actually love that she brought it in because essentially it's where the whole thing is a scorpion asks a frog if he could take him across the pond because he couldn't get across without dying. All right. And the frog was like, well, why should I trust you? You could very easily kill me. And he's like, no, no, I won't do that. And if I kill you, then I kill me. And it is it is literally just a great way to kind of teach you that you really can't trust people. Um, now I hate to say it like that, but even you could sit there and say, I won't do it, I won't do it, I won't do it, I won't do it. And then all of a sudden you do it and you hurt someone for it. And it literally is vicious people that can't stop hurting other people. And even if it's not even in their own interest. So in the end, the frog ends up getting stung by the scorpion and both of them die. So obviously the scorpion stinging the frog wasn't going to do any good for the scorpion, but just because he was just an asshole vicious person vicious being as it was, he just he couldn't go against his own nature, which was to
Mm-hmm.
be a fucking dick. And literally that's how some people just literally are. And I love the fact that she put this in here to describe the serial killer because you know, a serial killer is literally going to do the worst things even if it's not beneficial to himself. He's just going to do it anyways. Like it's just in his nature. No one's going to stop him unless, you know, they arrest him or put him down. But yeah, I love that little bit.
So I have heard of the scorpion and the frog, in all different kinds of in different kinds of things. In fact, there was a specific what was it in? Was it in um
Ooh,
I
it
feel
was a
like it was
movie
in a
or
movie with like
yeah, go
was
ahead.
it what's that movie I watched when I missed Massachusetts? The one with Ben Affleck and Matt
Uh
Damon,
yes,
Robin Williams.
yes. La, la, la.
Was it in that one?
You I think it might have been
No, maybe.
because he was fucking brilliant and that would make sense. Oh god,
I
what
feel
was the
like
name?
it's something Matt Damon said. Hold on. I hate my life. Everyone, please don't judge me right now.
Yeah, the f-
It was Good Will Hunting. You know what's
yes.
dumb is I didn't even see the video or like the name just now. I saw literally the cover of just um it's like a little thumbnail, so there's no words on it or anything. It's literally just
Yeah.
Matt Damon sitting next to Robin Williams. Um so I feel like it was in a movie like that or something. But anyway, I never kind of like looked up where it was from. Apparently, Wikipedia says this fable seems to have emerged in Russia in the early 20th century. Fable. The earliest known appearance of this fable is in the 1933 Russian novel The German Quarter by Lev, not saying that last name. The fable also appears in the 1944 novel The Hunter of The Pamirs. Anywho, that's fun.
Hmm. You know what the best line in that movie is?
Yes, I know what that best line in
Mm.
that movie is.
I'm
How about
sorry.
them apples?
Oh, it's so good. I love it. It's literally every time you mention Goodwill Hunting, I always say it to you.
You know what's funny is every time I think of Goodwill Hunting, other than just the movie itself, I think of Minnie Driver saying, give us a kiss," and spitting the water.
Oh yeah.
She's
Oh
so
yeah.
beautiful, and like just that image of her is so gross.
It was, but it was perfect.
Anywho, so in the book, there's another detective, Detective Alina, whatever. Not it's not detective. I keep saying detective, but it's like
Agent.
agent. Um, so she's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna spoil it, but she's another person working the case. And like I thought the interaction between her and Sadie was weird. Did you find it weird? Like
Okay,
the
go
reason
ahead.
I'll explain first. So the reason why I thought it was weird, I have no problem with the fact that Sadie was flirting with a chick, right? But the circumstances around it was really weird. Like I don't want to give too much away, but like first of all, she's ultra professional and ultra like, you know, by the book and blah blah blah. And then for her to sit there and it was awkward. It was like he's sleeping on the couch. I don't know. It was weird to me.
So I I honestly loved Alina's character because of the fact that she was like that cut and dry, very professional, no nonsense kind of agent. And
Mm-hmm.
I, in my opinion, if you're going to be an agent, that's how you should be. Just saying. Um, but I did like there was parts that like kind of like made me cringe about the
Was
two of
that
them.
one of them?
That was one of them, and there was another one where it was in the hospital and she like touched her leg, and I was like, okay, listen, if someone that I didn't know that was interviewing me for an investigation and they fucking touched me, hands are being thrown. I'd like, especially after I was victimized, no, do not fucking touch me. And the fact that that was her
Mm-hmm.
first like go to is to like, oh, let me put my hand on you. No, no, nope, nope. Uh-uh. I understand it was trying to be a like a comforting moment, but when you have someone that's been attacked, first rule, do not touch. Do not touch, especially when they're a fresh victim. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, can't stand behind that. So yeah, there was moments where she made me cringe, and like what the fuck. But yeah,
I just, how are you going to sit there and like treat him like crap because of their relationship and then flirt too? You know what I mean?
yeah,
I was just like, ugh. I lost all respect for her at that point. I was like, all right, I'm out.
yeah. I think I lost it in the hospital. Like I was like, oh yeah, she's great. No nonsense. And then she did that, and I'm like, okay. Mm. But you know, no one's perfect. That's just
Nobody's nerfed.
he's nerfing. I love it.
It's another good place reference. I sprinkle them in
Uh,
every once in a while.
I know you do. So, do you have a favorite quote?
Okay, so in this book, I have both favorite quote and a least favorite quote. I have a quote that I picked out specifically and was like, oh my God, this is not my vibe.
Okay.
So which one would you like first?
I'm interested to know what your least favorite was first. That's a
Ugh.
first.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Because you're going to understand exactly why once I say it. So
Okay.
the sentence or the quote is it says, "You got food," she said. "You ordered food from Maggiano's. I'm freaking out, and you're standing there letting me heap abuse on you don't deserve, all while ensuring I get a solid dinner." Do you understand why I hate that quote?
Yeah, it's a no.
It's so absurdly self-aware. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
even read like something someone would say. Oh, I feel like I'm going in hard on this sentence. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But like it's just so self-aware. She's impassioned, she's upset, she's yelling, she's mad, she's like, you know, sure, she's heaping abuse upon him which he does not deserve. I totally get that. But like someone would say probably something along the lines of like, maybe like, "I'm sitting here yelling at you and you had expensive food delivered." Or like, "I'm sitting here yelling at you and you got me food." Or so like something along those lines would have been kind of realistic. You know what I mean? Like, "I'm sitting here
Mm-hmm.
yelling at you and you're just going to get me food." And you like the people understand that. The readers understand that. They understand like the switch in attitude. They understand like, "Oh, okay, so she realizes what she's doing was wrong." It was just how you ordered food from Maggiano's. I'm freaking out, and you're standing there letting me heap abuse you didn't deserve, all while ensuring I get a solid dinner. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's over. I'm sorry. Anyway, um, one there's a couple that I really liked though. So like, how do you feel empathy for monsters without opening yourself to what the victims suffered?
Ugh. Yeah.
That one was good.
Yeah. I did actually highlight that. But it's just not my favorite quote.
There was a movie with Juliette Lewis where Juliette Lewis had a horrible upbringing and she was very much a victim, right? And then her character did something awful. And it was like I had compassion, or like I felt compassion toward her for what she went through. But also like she did something heinous to something, or something awful to someone else. And so it was like I was able to kind of feel the empathy for her, which she became a monster in that moment, you know, without opening, I don't know. It's a good quote. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then one I really want to mention is ignoring emotional injuries result in an increased likelihood of developing post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is 100% a very real thing. Anywhere you go, anything you look at, if you are researching PTSD, people who try and stifle it, try and push it down, try and ignore it, try and not acknowledge it and not work through it, are more likely to have prolonged PTSD. If you like try and work through it, you are more likely to quote unquote heal faster. um, which is a real thing. And I thought that it really needs to be brought up and talked about more, because you know how I feel about PTSD and people who kind of
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I know you've kind of helped me through mine. I don't jump at slam doors anymore. It's great.
hmm. um let's see. There's two more. I'll say them real fast. One is, how many families, friends, even neighbors couldn't believe it, couldn't see the man next to them in bed or next door being a monster.
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah, absolutely.
And then my favorite of all favorites, "I'd put him in the ground for you instead of a cage if I could."
That was, yeah, that was a good moment.
That is the hottest, most romantic. Like, that is my love language. That was the
Yeah, touch her and
I'd
die
put him
moment.
in the ground for you.
Yeah, yeah. So
Anywho's, what's your favorite?
see, mine was nice and simple. You went all hard on it, and I went with the soul signs of life are pictures of death in my investigation of it. I was like, ooh.
Dang. All right. So, Fade into the Night is part of a series called Philly Heat, which focuses on law enforcement. It was written by Becky Flade, and you can find it on Amazon, on at Barnes and Noble, all that jazz. Um, Becky's Instagram and Threads handle is at Becky Flade, BeckyFlade. She also has the Faded series, which seemed like it was, like Fated Mates kind of. But anywho's, yeah, go check her out.
All right. Well, everybody, next week we have Black Beast by Nenia Campbell.
Oh
Now,
my
let's give
freaking God, I am so excited. You don't even understand. It's not the Black Beast episode, it's the Nania Campbell episode.
and see here, folks, I was literally just gonna say, let's give Rachel a second to fangirl.
I'm so excited.
She didn't even need that whole second. She just went straight in for it.
You know what's weird? Because listen, I go on and on and on about Nenia a lot on Threads. And I feel like with as much as I go on about her, it's so weird that we haven't done an episode about her yet. And so I have no I have no like explanation. There's no justification for it. I've got nothing. Like other
Oh,
than what?
I've got the exact reason. Because you read the books that we wanted to both read.
Because I just keep reading the books.
Because she's rude.
Well, here's the thing is we definitely could have done Raise the Blood or Little Deaths for the
Oh,
podcast episode,
oh no,
but
no. You've already read them, so they can't be.
how is
It
that a rule? You had read Gothicana before I read it.
No, it was Master of Salt and Bones, but
Yeah, it was that one. And then I read Piper CJ's book before you read, like before we did
yep,
it on the pod.
yep. But with
So
Nan
how is that a rule with Nenia?
because it wasn't gonna be the same. You had already ranted and raved how good it was on everything, so we couldn't do it.
I feel like this is a made up charge.
No, because you didn't rave about Night and Its Moon on Threads before we did the book or the
Oh, I
podcast.
see what you're saying.
See,
Like
and
if I hadn't have posted about it, then we would have done one of them.
yeah, because I mean, then it would have been a fresh take, but it's not a fresh take if you've already posted about it.
I
So,
mean, I still think that it's whatever. But
yeah,
anyway, I'm still going to talk about him on the episode.
that's fine. Just don't give me any details.
No spoilers.
Yes. Well,
Anywho,
yeah, like, follow, subscribe, do all the things, and come back next week for the Nenia Campbell show.
follow us. We like stalkers.
Yeah, Nenia follows us. Follow us like her.
Yeah, but she does it like in a sweet, wholesome way.
Oh, she's like the sweetest fucking thing. She's
Dude, I'm saying. Anywho's, everyone, like, follow, subscribe. Love us. See you next Tuesday.
cunt.
Bye.
Bye.